MMI. If you have one of these coming up, fear not, because today we are going to be going through this 14-page booklet put out by McMaster University that outlines the exact criteria that assessors are supposed to be looking for when scoring applicants on interview day. If you're new to the channel, my name is Darren and I'm a junior resident doctor at McMaster University. Of course, today's video is extra special because it's part of a playlist designed to help you ace your MMIs. If you haven't already seen the rest of the videos, go ahead and click that card in the top right up here, open it up in a new tab, and save it for later so that you can watch the rest of the videos whenever is convenient for you. So, without any further ado, let's get straight into the content. Shall we? As you may or may not know, each station on the MMI is scored independently, which means that I could literally walk into a room, talk about how much I like ice cream for 8 minutes straight, completely flunk the station, and that will have no bearing on any of my other scores. Now, of course, I'm not recommending you actually go do that on purpose, but if for whatever reason you blank on one of your stations, not to worry, this is actually a very common experience that happens to more people than you would think. The best thing you can do in that type of a situation is do your best to recover, and once you're out of the room, move on, forget about it, because once again, the rest of the interviewers will have no idea about what just happened. In terms of the score sheets themselves, publicly available information from previous manuals suggests that it will look something like this. Essentially a Likert scale from 1 to 10, rating you on your ability to respond to the prompt when considering specific criteria. Now, although this sample score sheet rates you on your ability to communicate, the strength of your arguments, as well as your general suitability for the profession of medicine, you know, I'm just saying that other sample score sheets may rate you on your ability to analyze and critically think. They might consider whether or not you look at an issue from multiple perspectives, as well as whether or not you demonstrate an understanding of ethical and professional principles. If, for example, you're in an acting station where you have to console a colleague, they may consider whether or not you appear empathic, whether or not you attempt to console your colleague without making light of or belittling her concerns, as well as whether or not you considered multiple courses of options as opposed to just one. Finally, if you're asked a personal question, they may consider whether or not you've put some thought into the qualities that would make a good physician, as well as whether or not you actually have experiences that support those qualities. All jokes aside, the CanMed's roles are important because these are the criteria laid out by the Royal College which defines what it means to be a good physician here in Canada. So, although the manual explicitly states that interviewers can't be expecting demonstrated competence from applicants prior to graduation from medical school, it does suggest that interviewers use this framework as a guide when listening to applicants' responses. So, although it'd be completely unreasonable, in my opinion, for applicants to be demonstrating competence in the medical expert domain of the CanMed's framework, and probably a little unsafe if they were to try and demonstrate that competence anyways, it's not terribly unreasonable to be expecting applicants to reflect on their own life experiences and look for evidence of their ability to communicate effectively, collaborate well with different members of a team, as well as lead teams effectively. Additionally, applicants may also want to consider particular situations in which they've had to maintain their professionalism despite a challenging working environment. A common question that comes up amongst applicants is whether or not they need to know medical ethics for the MMI. And in my opinion, the answer to this question is yes and no. Yes, it is helpful to know about the general principles of autonomy, justice, non-maleficence, and beneficence, but technically speaking, the MMI is not designed to test specific knowledge in any given subject area. So yes, know your medical ethics, but don't dive too deep into the woods, just have a general sense of what those principles are. What's more important, and what the MMI is actually designed to test, is more so, at least according to the manual, your ability to apply general knowledge to issues relevant to the culture and society in which you'll be practicing should you gain admission into medical school. Now, back in my day, the issues that I was reading about included one-tier versus two-tier healthcare systems, indigenous health, LGBTQ health, as well as the social determinants of health. Fast forward a couple of years and these same topics still probably apply, but you might as well go ahead and tack on vaccine mandates, systemic racism, and medical assistance in dying specifically for those with mental health conditions. What you'll notice about a lot of these topics is that many of them are controversial and there's often no right answer to the issue at hand. What you're going to be assessed on is A, your ability to adopt a position and defend any ideas that you actually put forward, and B, your ability to consider the issue from multiple perspectives. In other words, you should be able to describe, despite your own position, why someone else might disagree with you in a non-patronizing way. You might be wondering what some of these topics have to do with the day-to-day practice of medicine. And while it's true that depending on what specialty you go into, you may or may not come into direct contact with a lot of these issues, doctors as a whole do have a large voice both within the healthcare system and the broader society. Medical schools are going to want to know that they're admitting applicants that are A, aware of the platform they will one day have as doctors, B, aware of the issues that are currently problematic within our society, and C, that are going to choose to use the platform they will one day have to advocate for more equitable and more just systems moving forward. A lot of the skills discussed in this video and those that they'll be assessing for in the actual MMI don't necessarily come naturally to everyone. So if you want to know how I prepared for my MMI back in the day, you can go ahead and click the next video in this playlist right at the top hand corner over there. Now, if that video is not out by the time you're watching this, do hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Hey, even if it is out, please do hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss the next video when it eventually does go live.